Thank you. What's going on, YouTube? Thank you for coming back to another episode of Scattered Brainseed. We're going totally low budget and ratchet this evening, all in honor of Love and Hip Hop Hollywood, Season 2, Episode 4. Got the glasses on. I do not feel like getting out my camera or, uploading things the regular way. So we're going to do it through my laptop computer, and hopefully the video turns out decent. So this is just a quick recap of what happened on Season 4. Not Season 4, Episode 4. Episode 4 opened back up where it ended with Nikki and Brandy busting into the studio to see what was going on with her husband, Max Lux. She found his wedding band on the floor, and she wanted to know why he wasn't wearing it. When she walked in, some girl had her arm like on his shoulder, and she's like, "Tell the bee to get her hand off your," all of that kind of stuff. And he was like, I didn't even know her hair was on my shoulder. There's something going on with his teeth. I'm not really sure what that is. But she had the wedding band in the bag. She wanted to know why he wasn't wearing it. She says that he keeps making a fool out of her and that this is the 4th time that has happened. So my thing is, if this has happened 3 times before, why are you even surprised that he's leaving the house without his wedding band? But we're going to get back to why he leaves the house without his wedding band a little bit later in this episode. And of course, that scene ends with her crying. Next up, we meet with Kamaya. To remind you, Kamaya is the girl who was briefly dating Little Fizz, who was referred to as an appetizer, and he was like, I'm sampling, and whatever. So she's meeting up with her friend. This is a new character they're introducing to the show. His name is Jason Lee. He is a blogger. He's blogged for TMZ. I think he's at the Shade Room and some other blogs. I don't read blogs, but he was blogging for them, and now he has his own. And they were just talking about the whole situation between her and Little Fizz. Kamaya's thing pretty much is she feels like, was I crazy or was I not crazy? Because, you out here introducing me to your mother, your child, and your friends, and I'm not supposed to believe that our relationship is something more serious than what it really is. Whereas Little Fizz, his whole thing was, I'm just sampling things on the menu, and, it's nothing really between us like that. Side note, Jason Lee's hairline. I don't know, some people may say, Travis, you don't have any hair to comment on anyone's hairline. I can still comment on people's hairline. His hairline is doing something interesting. Let me see if I can show you. It's here, and it goes all the way back here. Guys, if the sides of your hairline go all the way back here and then come up and do that, it's time to let that go. It's time to let that go. But the interesting thing that Kamaya said while she was talking to Jason about his relationship was the same thing that almost every female does when something doesn't work out with a guy. They always then want to talk about his sex game and talk about how bad the sex was, despite the fact that you stayed with him if the sex was that bad, and you still slept with him if the sex was that bad. But I guess when you're in a relationship, you really have on those rose-colored glasses, and then once you're out, you take the rose-colored glasses off, and you see things and people for who they really are. And she was talking about the fact that he couldn't get it up, and that he may need a blue pill. All right, next up, Miles meets with Hazel E. Miles is the closeted gay on the show, and he walks in there with a leather hat on and leather shorts. I used to wear outfits like that when I was like in middle school with the matching hat, the matching hat with the shirt and the shorts. But what is the purpose of leather shorts? It's like you gotta be confused weather-wise. Like, the leather keeps you warm, but the shorts keep you cool. It's like you want a little bit of both, huh? All right, anyway. So they're just talking about the whole Miles situation. Miles is continuing to go on about the fact that Milan is pressuring him, and Hazel is kind of like, well, you got to understand why he's pressuring him. He feels like you're cheating, and he really wants a relationship with you. And Miles is telling Hazel that he's not cheating, but clearly he's like kind of lying. And Miles says that he was upfront, and he was very clear with Milan about, how he felt about being in a relationship with a man. He was a youth pastor, and he led youth, and he was very into the church. And, of course, his religion, which is Christian, says that being gay is wrong and all of that. So he's conflicted. Do I go with my sexual feelings or do I go with my religion and all of that kind of stuff? Then we meet up with Little Fizz, and it says he's in a club. Oh, he goes to the club, and he just so happens to see Nikki there, and he rolls up on her. Um, he tells her that he needs to set Kamaya straight, and apparently Kamaya has been talking about Nikki, I guess, like on Twitter or something. So Nikki doesn't really care for Kamaya too much. Uh, Fizz brings up that whole menu thing again about Kamaya was just an appetizer and all of that kind of stuff. But Nikki is the sweetest thing on the menu. That kind of sounds a little bit disgusting. But he was pretty much like, when a girl got a body like that, that's just not something that you give up on. Kamaya talks about the fact that, Nikki talks about the fact that Kamaya called her plastic, I guess, on Twitter or something like that, and she refers to herself as not only the appetizer, but the appetizer, the entree, the main course, and the dessert with sprinkles and cherries on top. Now, two things about Nikki. What I don't understand about Nikki is throughout this episode, she talks about the fact that Kamaya keeps referring to her as plastic. But if we're gonna really be honest, Nikki is kind of plastic. She's had a lot of plastic surgery. Her boobs are fake. Looks like she's had some of her ribs taken out because her waist is really small, or either it's that whole corset thing, and her butt is fake. So you can't really get mad when people are calling you on your truth. My thing is, if you're gonna get plastic surgery and everything, you might as well just own up to the things that people say about you. You got the plastic surgery. Nobody made you do it. And aside from the fact that it all looks bad, but you are kind of plastic. You have plastic things in your body, so you can't really be mad about that. And is it me, or does Nikki sound like she's been yelling all her life, kind of like Mimi? Like she almost talks she got like a T-box thing going on. Oh, that hurts. Excuse me. Like she almost got like a T-box thing going on. Like she's been yelling all her life. And every time it bothers me. I notice everything that these people do in their confessionals. Y'all notice this. She talks like this in her confessionals. And I told Fizz that he needs to stop doing that. Because that little girl right there is whatever. And all this is all with the hands and all in the camera, all like this. Moving on. So Princess is still with Ray J. No surprise there. He wants her to stay at home, but she's like, nah, bump that, Negro. I'm not staying at home. I want to go out and live my life. But he wants her to stay at home. At this point, Princess is completely unaware that Ray J is getting all this information about the things that she does when she's out at night. He's getting all that information from Tierra. So Tierra is a little snitch, and she's running, telling on that tail. So Ray J tells Princess to go live your life. Because he pretty much sees that Princess is not going to stop going out, that she's going to start going out when she wants to, and there's nothing he can do about it. So he tells her to go live your life. And she says, isn't that what you're doing? And he says, no, I'm working. See, this show bothers me. It's no point in me even ranting about it. Anyway, next up we go to Brandy. Y'all know Extra, Lil B. She is going back and forth with her husband, Max Lux, about why he didn't have his ring on. And she said something that bothered me. She said the word fishes, and not in the verb type way. Let me give y'all a little grammar lesson. Ladies and gentlemen, the word fish is both singular and plural. Singular means one, plural means more than one. So, if I had a fish in my hand, this is a fish in my hand. If I had more than one fish in my hand, I would say, look at these fish in my hand. I would not say, look at these fishes. Fishes is not the correct grammar when you're speaking about more than one fish. It's still fish. The only time you're going to say fishes is when you're talking about the action. Like, my daddy fishes in his spare time. Y'all see how I did that right there? Just a little grammar lesson. That one was free. But she's going on with him, and he's pretty much like, why would I want to wear a ring that represents a crazy person? That's what he was saying. He said that this is what he said verbatim. He said the ring ain't ish. She makes terroristic threats. The ring doesn't mean anything, and that he leaves it on purpose. So he knows that leaving the ring gets under her skin. So he leaves his ring at home on purpose just because he knows what it's going to do to her. Now, I want to see what Brandy is going to do with this information moving forward. You now know that your husband leaves his ring on purpose. It's not an accident. He is purposely leaving his ring at home. So what now are you going to do, miss, with that information? I'm very interested to see what she does with that. So then they take the conversation outside. He runs again because he left her at the studio. She was ranting and raving. He was like, I ain't trying to deal with that. He just walked away. She's ranting and raving again at their house. So he just leaves. And he has to have that dramatic love and hip-hop moment. He takes the ring. This is what you care about so much? Ugh! And he throws it. And she goes ballistic. Really? Really? Why you gonna throw the ring? Why you gonna throw the ring? Don't do this in front of the neighbors. Don't do this in front of the neighbors. Don't act up. You gonna throw the ring? How am I gonna find it? How am I gonna find it? Don't you walk away from me. And she's walking, and I guess her legs are short. She scurries to the middle of the street, and it is so hilarious. He goes to get in the Hummer, and she stands in front of the Hummer to try to keep him from going somewhere. I was thinking, you better watch out the way before they run over your little tail. But they backed up and went the other direction. She made a complete and utter fool of herself. And that is what she's doing on the show. And y'all ladies, women, girls, who are thinking that a reality TV show is the way to make your come up, understand what you got to go through for that come up. You got to be on here making yourself look so stupid. So stupid. Oh my gosh, she looks so stupid. And it's so sad. Anyway, oh, something's in my eye. Next up, we meet up with April and Fizz. Fizz says that he wants to meet up with April and Omarion, but for some reason Omarion doesn't show up, so it's just him and April. And he felt like maybe I should just talk to April because I'm always talking to Omarion about my problems. So he tells her about Nikki, tells her about the fact that Jason Lee. No. He's telling her about the issues with Kamaya and issues about Nikki, and then Jason Lee walks up. Now, see. Earlier in the episode, when Jason Lee was introduced with Kamaya, Jason made it seem like his loyalty was with Kamaya. But during this scene, when he's talking to Fizz about what Kamaya said about him, I get it, he's a blogger, so he gossips and he goes back and forth and that kind of thing. He says, she said some stuff about you that I really didn't think was all that cool. But in the scene where she was joking about him not being able to get his thing up, he was joking along with her, adding to what she was saying. So I don't like the fact that he went to Fizz and was tattletelling, making it seem like he wasn't engaging in the conversation. So I already don't like him on the show. I already don't like whatever character, whatever role he's playing. I don't like him on the show. I don't like it. It's just messy. I don't like that. He felt like it was hitting below the belt. Is it still recording? Cool. All right, and then we have Miles. I'm about to go through this fast. Miles meets up with Milan at a restaurant. He's trying to show him that he is really here for him after having that conversation with Hazel. He's like, okay, let me take him to a restaurant that is out in public. Let me be out in public with my man so that my man sees that I really want to be with him. I guess that's just the little baby steps that he wants to take. Then he says, well, let's just get tattoos. And so he said, I already got it. So Miles has gotten the two M's and a crown on top of the M's, like here. And he shows him that and says, this is my way of showing you how much I care for you, which was completely stupid. These people on the show do a lot of stupid stuff. It should not take a tattoo to have to prove to somebody that you really want to be with them. Actions can do a whole lot, but getting a tattoo, that's like kind of forever-ish. And then it's like you kind of wanted to show him, but you didn't want to all the way show him because you didn't even get his name. You got Eminem. My thing is, if Miles' last name starts with an M, then he can just say those are his initials if it doesn't work out, which I guess is smart on his part. But, I mean, if you really wanted to be, like, to go all the way, you should have got his name. But Milan, I guess, is just appreciative of the gesture. And they kiss in public, and Milan is like, you realize what just happened, right? You realize you just kissed me in public. Yeah. Then we meet up with Princess and April. They're shopping. Princess is catching April up on the fact that Ray J is finding out about all this stuff, about the fact that she was with Tierra at Drake's party. And April is like, well, that's kind of crazy that he's finding out about all this stuff. So they're kind of putting two and two together, thinking like, I think it's Tierra that's telling Ray J all this stuff that I'm doing. So Princess concocts this idea that I'm going to text Tiara and say, hey, let's take a trip to Vegas and let's see if Ray J finds out. If Ray J finds out, then we know that Tiara is the one that's telling him. If he doesn't find out, then Tiara is probably cool. So she sends her that text message while they're out. Nikki meets up with Jason because she wants Jason to help publicize her lingerie line that she's starting. While she's talking to Jason, she tells Jason that she invited Hazel as well, who is a publicist, and Jason's like, she's not a publicist. And pretty much Jason doesn't seem to be too fond of Hazel in the first place. And then Nikki's kind of like, oh, wow, I didn't know you two had an issue. Had I known there'd been an issue, I wouldn't have invited y'all two together. But y'all know good and well Nikki didn't put that together. That was Mona Scott Young who put that together. Anyway, Hazel shows up, and there's animosity and there's tension between Hazel and Jason. They're kind of going back and forth, and Jason's like, Hazel, Hazel, Hazel. And she's just talking loud. And he does the quintessential B-word move. He takes a drink and throws it in her face and then walks off. Like, that is so disrespectful. I think I might have said it in another video. That's right above spitting. I mean, just throwing a drink in somebody's face. And then let alone a man throwing a drink in a female's face is horrible. But I have my own views about what kind of man Jason is, but I'm not going to talk about that. So then he leaves. So then we have Amber, Moniece, and Tiara. They're meeting up. And I don't want this to sound really rude, but Amber has very masculine features. Like, she almost looks like, never mind. I'm not going to say that. That's mean. Amber is just talking to them about the fact that she wants Miles to act right. So this is the whole thing I was talking about earlier where Miles is like kind of cheating. Because my thing is, Miles is not manning up to his responsibility. He's not manning up and telling these two people who mean something to him how he really feels. He needs to tell Amber that he does not want the cooch, that he wants the peen. And he needs to tell Milan that he's been messing with the cooch, but he still wants the peen. He needs to be honest with both of them. That way they're both not kind of left in the dark. So right now he's really getting what I guess some people would consider the best of both worlds. Cooch and peen on the platter. And Amber is completely unaware that Miles is gay. And of course, I'm sure, we're going to find out during the season. I'm pretty sure it's going to be very dramatic. Then Tiara brings up the fact about Princess texting her about going to Vegas. And Tiara's like, I think I'm going to text Ray J just to get under his skin. So she falls right into Princess's trap, and she texts Ray that that Princess invited her to Vegas. So I guess we'll see how that plays out on the next episode. And then the final scene of this episode is Nikki at Fizz's house. At some point, did I miss something? At some point earlier in this episode, Nikki met up with Fizz. Oh yeah, Nikki met up with Fizz to go on a date. They go on a date to a movie theater that Fizz, I guess, has invested in. And they're just in the theater. They're not watching a movie. They're just in there talking. And she's telling him, again, that she doesn't like the fact that Kamaya is talking about her and that she can help him get her stuff out. And they're talking about they miss each other and they want to smash. I'm assuming that's really what they really are trying to get to. And then they do some real coonish stuff, and they start feeding each other watermelon Sour Patch Kids out of a plastic martini glass. I don't know. So now fast forward to the day when Nikki is going to help Fizz get Kamaya's stuff out. Nikki must have spent the night. She's there in her Nude by Nikki lingerie, and she's cooking breakfast for him. And, they're just kind of waiting on Kamaya to get there. Kamaya gets there, and an argument ensues. And Kamaya and Nikki are going back at it, back and forth. Nikki is upset at the fact that Kamaya called her plastic, which she is. Nikki is commenting on the fact that she has lopsided breasts. But Nikki is kind of unaware of the fact that her breasts don't move, because she did one of these moves in the cameras, and they looked like two basketballs. There was no jiggle action going on there. So you're plastic, man. Anyway, so Nikki made Kamaya a care package filled with some stuff that I don't know. Kamaya looks at it and she throws it in Nikki's head. And then Fizz gets upset and he tries to kick her out, and she gets two pretty good mushes in on Fizz's face. Like she mushes him pretty well. She got it in good. Picks the care package up, throws it back at Nikki, gets taken out by security. They argue, and that is the end of episode 4, season 2. More ratchetness. And I'm right at 20 minutes, so I did good. Y'all, this show is so ratchet. It is so ratchet. But there are so many life lessons in here, and I hope that you all are catching them. Make sure you rate, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you guys later. Peace.